again, as we mentioned, pre-class training and testing, that's the online portion along with the classroom training. We no longer do the classroom. The driving program, you'll learn to do a pre-trip and post-trip inspection. Road and range training. Range training is basically just getting used to your truck in the parking lot, as well as how to load it in the terminal. Again, you'll have a road test. Online testing, that's today. Final exam required, 75% required. And the no preventable general liability DOT recordable accidents or moving violations. So here we go. Let's kick off. Welcome to the last mile. Take a screenshot of this. Industry of high expectations and even higher customer demand for fast, reliable, on-time service. The goal of this program will be to provide you with professional driving and parking techniques to ensure these customer demands are achieved. So I know all of you aren't this old, but I was in high school in the 1980s, and I ran mail to the post office and whatnot and FedEx box for my family's business. I was the office mail girl. I know that's sexist. They were called mail girls back then, but FedEx came out about that time, and they had the commercial on TV when it absolutely positively has to get there overnight. And that was kind of the shot heard around the world in the last mile industry. Post office didn't have overnight delivery. UPS didn't have overnight delivery. FedEx was the first company that came out to provide overnight delivery. Everybody else had to up their game. Fast forward to 2024. Now we have a lot of different players in this space. Amazon is one of our biggest competitors, and they're able to do same-day delivery in some cases. So everybody has upped the bar every step of the way. And that's really what you guys are faced with, providing fast, reliable service. People don't want their packages broken. They want them delivered with care, but they want them as quickly as they can get them. And that's where we come in. We deliver things from all over the place. We deliver tires. We have a big contract with Chewy. We actually, until this year, were delivering overnight for USPS, and I believe UPS just took over that contract. So take a picture of this one. Professional mindset. First step in becoming a professional driver is to develop the correct mindset. Professional driver realizes it takes two objects working in harmony to operate the commercial vehicle successfully, the human and the vehicle. If your vehicle is not up to par, the maintenance isn't good on it. You let your tires go, you let your brakes go bad. That's not going to create for a happy ending. If you are not in tip-top shape, I have to admit, in my younger years, I may have been able to burn the candle at both ends and stay out late, and come into work and perform, sometimes better than others. If I wasn't in tip-top condition, I probably wouldn't want to be behind the wheel of a 23,000-pound step van. Those two objects working in harmony when they're both in tip-top shape will give us optimal results. If one or the other isn't working to capacity, it can create a problem. Your job is to do a daily pre-trip and post-trip inspection. That ensures that the truck is in the best shape. We have a sister company here at Bella called Wheeled. Wheeled is a fleet maintenance company. They do all the work on our trucks. They come out to the terminals to do work on the trucks at night. So if you start to notice things wearing, your brakes, your tires, your windshield wipers, you let your manager know. And before that vehicle has to be put down for service and not able to run, we'll have those problems corrected. So the maintenance happens while the trucks aren't running at night, so they're ready for the next day. So the nice thing about this course is that you don't have to listen to me rattle at you all day long. There's some videos for your learning and entertainment.
Hello, welcome to Ground Cloud University. Today we'll be talking about professional driving techniques, determining preventability. Let's watch this accident and see if, according to ATA guidelines, if this would be ruled preventable or non-preventable. So taking a closer look, you can see that this driver was traveling on a 2-lane road with a double yellow line. The driver tried to turn left, and at the same time, a car tried to pass him over the double yellow line, striking him in his driver's side door. This accident will be determined as preventable because the professional driver should have checked their left side mirror before making their left turn. The car will be cited for trying to pass on a double yellow line. So keep in mind that professional drivers are held to a higher standard. They are held to the ATA accident guidelines because professional drivers should drive for themselves and everybody else around them.
All right, let's back up here a little bit.
The accident will be
So this is what kind of sucks. Don't know how else to put it. Commercial drivers are held to a higher standard. We have drivers who are what we call AVP drivers. They're in an alternative vehicle program, which means they drive their own cars. You probably
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I can't figure this out. Fucking shit, bro.
You okay?
I appreciate the opportunity, bro. Is there any way I can do this in person?
We don't have the class portion in person anymore.
Okay. I appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that made life easy. Okay. People opt out all the time. I understand. Anyway, so back to ATA guidelines. Our drivers, because they are driving a commercial vehicle, or because they're just driving commercially, because we have people who drive in their own cars for some of our routes, you're held to a higher standard. So in you driving your car on a daily basis, if somebody tried to pass you around a double yellow line and you were making a left-hand turn legally, that would have been their fault. This commercial driver here is going to be cited and get a ticket because he failed to use his mirror and see that car coming around him. It's not really fair, but life's not fair when you're driving for a living. That's what it really comes down to. The second thing to notice here, see this in the caption up top where it's superimposed? You can see the driver's hand. That looks like a phone. It's not. It's a scanner. That's like one of the scanners we use. As I mentioned, our old turn-by-turn directions, we used to use those scanners for that. So he was reading his scanner to get his directions, and you saw his head moving, looking and checking to see if he was at the right street. He just failed to look at the mirror and made that turn, not expecting this guy to come around him. Why would he? It was a double yellow line. But unfortunately, he's getting ticketed as well and being found at fault because he's held to a higher standard. Any questions about that?
No, sir.
Okay. So, professional mindset. Take a picture of this one. These are the topics we're going to review under professional mindset. And then we're going to run into a slide here, a couple slides of 2 slides of DOT guidelines that I have to read verbatim. These are some of the ones that I have to read. So take a picture of this one. So along with the professional mindset, the vehicle's performance is the next crucial item to provide a safe and efficient delivery experience for you and the customer. Knowledge of and compliance with DOT regulations, including the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, or the FMCSR. Every driver shall be knowledgeable of and comply with all the regulations contained in the FMCSR, which are applicable to that motor carrier's operations. Every driver shall be instructed regarding and shall comply with all applicable regulations contained in the FMCSR. All motor vehicle equipment and accessories required by these DOT regulations shall be maintained in compliance with all applicable performance and design criteria set forth in the FMCSR. FMCSR aiding and abetting violations. No person shall aid, abet, encourage, or require a motor carrier or its drivers to violate the rules of the FMCSR. FMCSR violations and penalties. Any person who violates the rules set forth in the FMCSR may be subject to criminal or civil penalties. Take a picture of this one. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration states that the driver is ultimately responsible to make sure that the vehicle being operated is in safe operating condition. Federal and state laws require that you may not drive a vehicle unless you're satisfied that it is in safe operating condition. Worn, failed, or incorrectly adjusted components can cause or contribute to accidents. Preventative maintenance and periodic inspection procedures help to prevent failures from occurring while the vehicle is being operated. As a commercial motor vehicle operator, you and the motor carrier are tasked with certain Department of Transportation regulations. Some of these regulations are A, performing a pre-trip and post-trip inspection. This ensures commercial vehicles are roadworthy to help reduce maintenance-related collisions. Post-trips must be documented and held by the motor carrier. B, completing a driver vehicle inspection report, otherwise known as a DVIR. This is a documented post-trip inspection. The DVIR is a DOT regulated inspection that's completed by the driver on the motor carrier's DVIR report. This document can be completed on electronic devices, i.e. scanners. That's how we do it. If any defects are found, the driver must report this to the motor carrier via the DVIR and cannot operate the vehicle until the defects are corrected. The vehicle will be placed out of service and cannot be placed back into service until the next driver verifies the defects have been fixed and the DVIR is updated. The Department of Transportation has regulations designed to ensure the safety of the professional driver and the motoring public. According to these regulations, the driver of the commercial vehicle shall perform a daily pre-trip and a documented post-trip inspection to ensure safe operation. So let's talk about this. We've got a bunch of different factors at work here. We've got Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. We've got the State Department of Transportation. And we've got FedEx. We've got Bella, the motor carrier, and we've got you, the driver. So all of these things work in conjunction. There's state rules, there's federal rules. There are FedEx who wants to get packages out. There's us who wants to get packages out. And there's you who wants to get paid for getting packages out. However, we have to do this in compliance with all these regulations. So Bella can't say, Diamond or Derek, you need to go out today and drive that unsafe truck. You can't make a unilateral choice to say, I'm getting paid today. I don't care that the tires are bad. And FedEx can't say, we don't care that your tires are bad. We want you to go out and deliver these packages. As a matter of fact, FedEx has a guy who goes around from terminal to terminal and checks tires. And sometimes the load manager will do the same thing at the terminal. So that's why we have Wheeled that does the inspections at night, as well as goes out when you guys say, hey, this is getting bad or that is getting bad. That way you never have to put a truck out of service, and you've communicated with your manager to get things fixed in a timely manner before you're ever going to have to put anything out of service. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Sure does.
Okay, got it. All right, so let's start getting into safety here. Take a picture of this one. Professional driving can be summarized by two words: space and visibility. What do you guys think is more important, space or visibility? Any idea?
Space.
Space is ultimately what you're trying to create, but they go hand in hand. You can't create that space with visibility. So visibility comes first in order to create that space. What do you think caused this Amazon driver to get in this accident? Any ideas? He was actually distracted. The police officer found out he was on his phone. So that's a rough way to start a day, crashing into the back of a trooper or a police officer. You can see under the Amazon truck, there's no skid marks behind those tires. So he was totally distracted on his phone and just ran right into the back of the police cruiser. Think of visibility as your radar. That's another way to think of it. It's always scanning the area around the truck, whether it's in front of you or via your mirrors or your cameras, to be able to use your visibility to create that space. Take a picture of this one. So let's talk about visibility some more. 15 seconds of eye elevation. A professional driver will look down the road 15 seconds ahead. This is a learned behavior. Humans only really look down the road 2 to 3 seconds because we walk at 2 to 3 miles an hour. We don't translate that into driving at higher speeds, unfortunately. The way you know that humans do that, when you're driving down the highway and you see a state trooper in the median strip, what do? You slam on the brakes, right? That's because most drivers only look ahead 2 to 3 seconds, and that trooper kind of sneaks up on them being in that median strip. A professional driver will be able to see that state trooper, 15 seconds ahead of time, and they can apply the brakes gently and slow down. And then they get the fireworks display of brake lights in front of them from all the people who weren't paying attention, right? But that begs the question, how far is 15 seconds? Well, that depends on where you're traveling and how fast you're going, right? So in a city where you're going maybe 35 miles an hour, if you look at these two pictures, it's the distance of that shadow, or about 2 city blocks, right? You can see where this truck is down here, the shadow's up there. That's about 15 seconds at 35 miles an hour. But what about on the open highway or 50 miles an hour on a country road? That's more like a quarter mile or 1,320 feet. So that's going to be a question on the test. 15 seconds is equal to a quarter mile on a highway or 2 city blocks. What are things that rob you of your 15 seconds of eye elevation? Well, a vision barrier is one of those things. You're trying to keep 15 seconds of eye elevation. If I held my hand in front of your face right now, or held up a book, you wouldn't be able to see around it. That's what a vision barrier is out on the road. If you look at this left picture, this van it's similar to a step van, a lot like some of the trucks that we drive. You can't see around that. You have no idea what's going on in front of that. That's robbing you of your 15 seconds. You can barely see 2 seconds in front of you. The appropriate thing to do would be to move into another lane so you could see around that van. Same thing applies in this picture on the right. In this picture over here, you've got a parked cargo van, a parked utility van, parked cars all the way down this sidewalk. You're probably going to want to place your vehicle further to the left, and probably slow down a little bit going down this residential city neighborhood. You never know if one of these cars is going to pull out. You have no idea what's going to come out between those cars. What other things rob us of our visibility? Inattention blindness is another thing. This picture explains how inattention blindness can reduce your 15 seconds of eye elevation. So it's the brain's inability to process all the images your eyes are picking up. There's a 37% reduction in the brain's parietal lobe, and that's associated with spatial sense or navigation. So basically, this means you can be looking directly at something and not see it. What are things that cause that? Conversations, you're on the phone maybe, or you're yelling at an idiot on sports talk radio who doesn't know what they're talking about. It's the brain can't process 2 complex tasks at the same time, so it has to handle them sequentially. Take a picture of this while I'm finishing up. Switching focus between the 2 tasks, going back and forth between the conversation and trying to watch what you're doing while you're driving. So there's 2 types of vision. Take a picture of this. There's peripheral vision. That's your early warning system to detect moving objects. It can only detect color, shape, and movement. It can't focus or read words. Extends outward about 100 to 110 degrees on both sides of your head. And then you have your central vision, which is used to focus on an object and read words. This only extends out right in front of your face, basically 5 to 18 degrees. The example I use for this is a wide receiver in football. He goes out to catch a pass. Quarterback throws the ball. He's using his central vision to look the ball into his hands, focusing on the ball. At the same time, he's using the peripheral vision out here on the sides to look for that defensive back who's coming to clean his clock. That's the difference between central and peripheral vision. So some other things when it comes to vision that rob us and of our vision. So a fixed stare. This takes place when we're trying to read or focus on something. The brain uses the central vision to process the information. Field of vision is reduced from 180 degrees down to only 5 to 18 again. A driver might do this while looking for an address. So you're looking for 5397 Main Street, like the picture shows here. Well, you're at 5337 and you're looking in the numbers on the stoop, and then 47's on the mailbox, and then 57's above the door, and you're focusing and becoming fixated on looking for those numbers. And now all you got is your peripheral vision, hoping that that's watching for the vehicles in front of you. Take a picture of this one. A blank stare. This is the other type of stare. This occurs when a driver's tired and stares at an object, but the brain is not processing the image, only uses their central vision. Again, your field of vision is reduced down to 5 to 18 degrees. Happens on the highway, like gate or delay at rush hour or at a traffic light. You're sitting at the traffic light. It's the end of the day. You just want to get home. Come on, turn green. Come on, turn green. And you're just staring at that traffic light. And you're creeping forward and creeping forward. And next thing you know, you're blankly staring, you're zoned out. Happens on the highway similarly as well. But there's a trick that drivers will use to keep from falling into a blank stare. They'll move their eyes every 5 to 7 seconds. Well, you may say, well, Joel, what am I supposed to do with my eyes every 5 to 7 seconds? Well, you'll do a 5 to 7 second mirror check. Take a picture of this one. This slide's also going to be on the test. This allows for the professional driver to gain a 360-degree awareness all the way around the vehicle, including how to judge lane presence, where the vehicle's riding within their lane, and lane placement, which lane provides the best visibility. The left picture here, you're going to have to become proficient at using both these types of mirrors. One is further back behind the truck. The lower one is your blind spot. In the center picture, we also have our backup cameras. Now, in our trucks, because you have a bulkhead and can't see behind you, there's no rear view mirror. There's only this backup camera, which becomes a rear view camera when you're in drive. So it will show you directly behind your vehicle who is behind you. It also, on our trucks, when you use your turn signals, it will show you what's on the left of the truck or the right of the truck, depending on which turn signal you engage. Then on the right-hand side, you have to become proficient at using the mirror on the right side. Why? You get sneaky people. This is a rough one because that's a real big blind spot down that side of the truck. You'll pull up to an intersection like this and you're going to square your turn. And you got a guy, let's say he's a courier on a bicycle with his ear pods in, right? Listening to music, not paying attention. You start to pull forward. Even though you have your signal on, he misses it. And you're pulling straight forward to square that turn so you don't run over the back of the curb, the corner here with the back tires. And he's bebopping along, taking off. Maybe it's an e-bike, so it's got a little speed to it. And here you go and make that turn, and he runs right into your cab door or front tire and gets squished. Picking those things up in that mirror and being wary of what's on that side of the vehicle is really important because it's a bad spot. Take a picture of this one. Lane presence. Knowing the height and the width of your vehicle and knowing where you should be riding in that lane. You know, whether it's too tall to go under an underpass or too wide to fit across a one-lane bridge, you have to know the size of your vehicle. July 31st, 2023, we hired a guy from another FedEx contractor in Durham. He wanted to come to Knightdale because he was commuting from Goldsboro, which it's 40 minutes further to Durham. So we were cutting his daily commute by an hour and 20 minutes. In the interview, he told us that he drove a Ford Transit van. We had a Ford Transit van that needed a driver. It was, perfect fit. We put him on route the very first day he got with us. What we didn't realize is that he drove a low top Ford Transit van, and we handed over a high top Ford Transit van. There's about 1.5 feet, 18 inches of difference in the height of those vehicles. He went down Bailey Road and went under an underpass just like this one, except it was a little shorter. He scalped the roof of that van. Had to call a wrecker, called CPC. That's our driver customer service when you need help. He didn't call the manager. The manager was on the route that day. So the manager was unable to see how long he was stuck at this underpass. And when the manager got back to the terminal, he started looking for the van. Well, this van was parked out in the employee parking lot. He later found the van. The roof had been scalped off of it. The driver drove home without alerting anybody, left about 30 packages from the route in the van, and they were now soaked because it had started to rain when the van got back to the terminal. So that was the guy's first and last day with Bella Logistics. He didn't listen to any of my warnings about making sure you call your manager if you have an accident. Second to 911 if there's one of those sort of problems. And he basically did about $4,000 of damage to one of our assets. We couldn't even get him on the phone. We ultimately had to let him go via text because he wouldn't pick up the phone. So he kind of knew what the ramifications of his actions were. Where do you get the opportunity to know the height of your vehicle before you ever take it out on the pre-trip inspection? Okay. Make sure we know how tall and how wide our vehicles are. Take a picture of this one. So lane placement, that is figuring out what lane should I be in. This red car here is in the best lane because it gives the driver an escape path in every direction. In the left lane, he'd be too close to the car in front of him. In the right lane, he only has either speeding up or moving left, can't slow down. This way, this driver can go in 4 directions if he needs to. You're always asking yourself the question, what if? This provides you the best opportunity to escape what if something happens, okay? Lane change, take a picture of this one. The smog technique, proper lane change. This is on the test. Signal, turn on your signal. Mirror, check your mirrors. Over the shoulder, that's your O. Look over your shoulder for your blind spot. And then go, once confirmed, slowly move into the new lane. Take a picture of this one. Lane change, passing. Professional tips include leave enough space between you and your delivery van and the vehicle in front of you. Don't tailgate. Ensure your turn signal's turned off after the maneuver. Nothing worse than driving down the road behind somebody with a turn signal on forever. If passing other vehicles, leave enough space. Do not cause oncoming traffic to swerve. Hold that thought. Before changing lanes, look for vehicles trying to pass your slower vehicle. Okay, so we have a lot of rural routes. You will by and large be mostly on rural roads. Down in Johnston County or up in the rural roads in Salem, you might get stuck behind Farmer Ted in his 1920 or 1970 F100, right? Going 20 miles an hour. And he's, looking at his tobacco crops or his cotton crop or whatever it is. You may want to go around him. And you can pass on a dotted line. However, we don't recommend it. It's very dangerous in our vehicles because they are heavier. They don't accelerate as quickly. They don't brake as quickly. So if you don't have clear vision and plenty of distance, we don't recommend it. That's the first reason we don't recommend it. The second reason we don't recommend it is that guy who's the high school kid in Daddy's Mustang GT or Corvette that thinks you're the reason for the slowdown. Heath doesn't know anything about Farmer Ted because you're the vision barrier. So now he's going to go around you just about the time you start to go around Farmer Ted, and he's going to run into the back of you or sideswipe you. So be very wary of passing. Swerving or making oncoming traffic swerve is way out of the question. We don't want you to like sniff oncoming traffic if you're trying a passing maneuver. We just lost a driver via an accident. He didn't die. He was fired. A truck in front of him was making a right-hand turn. He didn't slow down at all. He tried to go around the driver on a double yellow line. The driver looped to make that hard right-hand turn. He kind of did a loop and went out into that left-hand lane to turn right, and ran right into the back of him. And it was clearly our driver's fault. He was doing about 55 and a 45 and rear-ended somebody. And now we have an accident. Our truck is totaled, and a big insurance claim. We're rolling billboards, by the way. We have FedEx on the side of our truck, so people will come after us. All right, take a picture of this one. I love this one. So merging with a lane change, merging or entering traffic. So professional techniques: avoid causing other vehicles to swerve or have a near collision. We talked about that. Although this is going in the same direction, not into oncoming traffic. By scanning the mirrors, the driver gauged enough space around the vehicle to allow a smooth transition into the flow of traffic. Avoid tailgating other vehicles by not squeezing into traffic. So let's talk about this. We've all seen these orange signs. Usually you see them and there's like a digital display that says merge ahead, right? And then off in the distance, you see that big blinking arrow, merge right, merge right. Invariably, you're a good citizen. You get over in plenty of time. There's always those people who have to speed down past you and get in front of you. And usually it's because they don't want to be behind a truck. They don't want a vision barrier. So they're trying to speed down past every truck to get to the front of the line. And their vehicles are faster. They brake easier, but they're also lighter. So if you try to act like that and drive like that, you can't squeeze in, speed up, slow down, or anything like they can. That's going to cause an accident. So just be patient, get over. I love those tractor trailer drivers who stick their butt halfway out in the lane to keep people from doing that. That's what keeps the flow of traffic moving, honestly. And obviously it depends on how much traffic there is. Let's also talk about merging into traffic. So let's say it's even worse. You're on an entrance ramp and it's in one of those areas that is a single lane where it's under construction, right? You've always got the people who were the ones who didn't want to get behind a truck. Well, they're certainly not going to let a truck in. They're going to hook their front bumper on the car's bumper in front of them, right? They're not letting you in. Be patient. Do not try to wedge in. Eventually, someone like yourself who's driving a truck or a van is going to let you in. Take your time, merge into traffic safely. Left turn dangers. So, left turns continue to be a dangerous act for all drivers. Take a picture of this, by the way, because your vehicle's passing through oncoming traffic. So remember, I talked about oncoming traffic already, but these turns slow down your delivery day and place you in harm's way. Professional driver will perform the following actions to avoid left turn accidents. Avoid cutting off oncoming traffic, causing them to brake suddenly or swerve. Try to avoid left turns to keep themselves and the motoring public safe. UPS, our competitor, they do not allow their drivers to make left-hand turns. Their routing system will route you around the block. So they don't let you make lefts. So you'll go down and make a right and a right and a right to get onto the road that we allow you to make left-hand turns onto. We do allow you to do that. We'd prefer you to do that at places where there's a turn arrow. I realize that that's not possible everywhere. But that's one of our biggest areas of safety issues. UPS has the highest industry DOT safety rating. We are second to them. We are second to them because of left turns alone. If you took the left turn statistics out, we'd be equal to them. All right, take a picture of this one. This is a long one. I'm going to go through it with you. So we're going to select the lane with the best visibility and space. We don't want to be behind a vision barrier. We want to provide choose the lane with the best space around our vehicle. And can you safely maneuver to avoid a dangerous situation? So let's talk about each of these pictures. For the purposes of our conversation today, this picture on the left here, pretend this lane over here doesn't exist and this car is actually facing away from you and driving up the photograph, okay? So we want to choose lane 2. Why do we want to be in lane 2? In lane 1 is it's a passing lane, so you'd be traveling at a higher rate of speed and probably gaining on this bus or truck up here, which would be a vision barrier. So then you'd be behind a vision barrier in a passing lane with no exit. You'd be stuck. In lane 3, you're traveling too close to this car in front of you. Lane 2 provides the best lane because not only can you move into lane 1 or 3 if something happens, you can speed up still, or you can slow down. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Picture number 2. All right, country road. We've got a double yellow line, and we would be traveling down this road. We'd try to hug, actually, the double yellow line. We have a mirror that sticks out a great deal so it can see behind our truck. The problem is, if you're approaching another truck just like yours, another FedEx truck is coming the opposite direction, or moving van or whatever, your mirrors will be over this line. And you want to be there normally if there's no oncoming traffic. But what you don't want to have happen is you don't want a mirror clap. I think since I've been here in the last 10 months, we've lost 8 or 9 mirrors to mirror claps for that exact reason. The reason we're hugging this line is because we've got a low soft shoulder. We also have tree overhang. You don't want to slip off a road into a ditch. These rural roads, it's all drainage ditch. It's all culvert. It's all it's all a mess. There's no shoulder out here in the country. The highway department doesn't get their trimming devices, their tree trimmers out all that often. You don't want to take the roof off of a truck either. So if you are passing one of these trucks, you want to try to get towards the middle, but avoid the far right at all costs. Center yourself if you're passing another truck. Then get back over to get around the trees. All right, but what about in this city block? This looks like a one-way street. You'd probably be safer being further away from this parked traffic, more towards the left. However, as you approach these trees with the overhang, you're going to have to thread the needle down here towards these parked cars and slow down to get under these trees. So that's selecting the appropriate place in the lane, okay? All right, let's talk about following distance. 3 to 6 seconds of following distance is what we ask you guys to use, but you may say, okay, that's all fine and well. Well, how do I calculate 3 to 6 seconds of following distance? What you would do is you'd wait till the car in front of you's rear bumper passes a fixed object, road sign, street light, and you start counting your 1000s, 1,000, 2 1,000. That represents seconds. Mississippi is something that people use as well. And when your front bumper passes that same fixed object, that's how many seconds you're traveling behind that vehicle. You want 3 to 6 seconds. Well, you may say, Joel, well, do I want 3 or do I want 6 or what do I want? Why do I want 3 to 6? Okay. It depends on how fast you're going. 35, you probably want 3. 55, you probably want 6. You gauge it up or down based on the speed that you're traveling. Make sure you take a picture of that. All right, another video. Intersections, dangerous and costly.
No seatbelt, no brakes, no job. Let's see what happens when this driver approaches an intersection and realizes he has no brakes. What would you do? So let's talk about things that could have prevented this and actions the driver could have taken. Number one, beeping the horn was great, trying to warn others that there's something. Number two, parking brake. He could have slowly tried to apply the parking brake to help slow him down. Number three, lower gear. Try to put the vehicle into a lower gear to use the transmission to help slow you down. Lastly, this accident might have been avoided had a proper pre-trip been done on the vehicle.
All right, let's rewind.
Two,
All right. So what we have here in this picture is our driver wedged between a rock and a hard place. This is a 23,000 pound P1000 step van and a 5,000 pound, looks like possibly a Honda or maybe a Lincoln Mark 8, maybe. He was injured. He was hospitalized, bunch of broken bones, didn't necessarily walk away, but didn't pass away either. To add insult to injury, this guy got fired. There's a camera on him in this cab, just like every one of our trucks. He was not wearing his seatbelt. If you are caught not wearing a seatbelt while your vehicle is in drive, FedEx will disqualify you automatically. So he was terminated over no seatbelt. To add insult to injury, they did an audit on his pre-trip and post-trip inspections, and they found that for some reason, they were identical every single day for 2 years. There was never anything different on the pre-trip or post-trip inspection, so he was basically mailing it in. He didn't notice that there was a leak in his brake fluid reservoir, and that was what caused the accident. So don't mail in those pre-trip and post-trips, and always wear your seatbelt. Take a picture of this one. So intersections are most dangerous and costly accidents that we have. This accident always involves other human beings. It leads to possible serious injuries to you and others. Higher rates of speed greatly increase fatalities and injuries. It can also involve a lawsuit. This slide's on the test. They're going to want to know what type of accidents are most dangerously and costly. The answer is intersections. So take a picture of these. These are all the different types of intersection accidents. You're going to have a bunch in a row. How to avoid traffic light accidents. I got to read these. A stale red light's a red light that's not changed color since the driver first noticed it. The professional driver should look ahead 15 seconds to enable the vehicle to come to a controlled stop rather than a dangerous, sudden stop. Okay, take a picture. Stale green light is a green light that's not changed color since the driver first noticed it. Expect the unexpected, but approach with caution. Maintain your speed. Expect the light may change. Cover the brake with your foot as you travel through the intersection, and place your hand over the horn while traveling through the intersection. Don't stare at the light, rather scan left, right, left with your eyes, looking for vehicles, bikes, and pedestrians. All right. Intersections in general, how to avoid accidents. Keep looking around the intersection and checking your mirrors. Avoid staring at the light. if you're stopping, stop one car length away from the crosswalk, stop bar, or intersection, and leave one car length between you and the car in front of you if you're not first in line. Look twice for motorcycles and bikes. I mean, if you're going to get rear-ended, it's going to give you a cushion to not get pushed into the intersection, or the car in front of you if you're not the first one at the intersection. Sorry, it's not letting me scroll up. Here we go. Stop sign accidents, how to avoid them. Make a complete stop at stop signs, look left, right, left. Make eye contact with the other vehicle, pedestrian or biker. Define who has the right of way and identify the type of intersection, because that will tell you who has the right of way, whether it's a four-way stop and it's the first person that got there, or the person on the right if you got there at the same time. Let's talk about this for a second. So you get to a stop sign, you and the person to the right. It's a four-way stop. You get there at the same time. The person to the right has the right of way, but this has happened to me a million times. That person will wave me on and go, "Oh, no, go ahead. You go first. I insist." And I go, "Oh, no, you have the right of way. I'm a gracious person. You should go first. It was yours to begin with." And they do this back and forth with you 15 times, right? And then finally, you're fine, you're fed up, you stand on the gas and you end up in each other's laps. That's never happened to me, but that's what will happen to you, because we're not lucky enough to not have it happen. Here's the problem. You're held to a higher standard. You knew that person to the right of you had the right of way, and you kept on giving it up when it came back to you. So you're also being filmed this whole time, as well as that other driver. You're held to a higher standard. That accident's going to be your fault, and it's going to be all on video. So do yourself a favor. Make sure you do not go if you give up that right of way. I don't like to mess with right of ways. If the person at the far right is there before you, let them go first if they do have the right of way. All right, now we've got a couple pictures. These are questions on the test. These are cheat sheets. We talked about these. What's more important? Space or visibility gives you the answer. Demonstrate how to calculate 15 seconds, a quarter mile, or 2 city blocks. Why do we do this? Because it prevents rear end accidents and saves on vehicle maintenance. Why should the driver check their mirrors every 5 to 7 seconds? Creates that space and visibility because it gives you knowledge of the vehicles around you and where you are traveling in the lane. Got the picture? All right, next one. Take a picture of this one as well. Same thing. More questions from the test. Demonstrate how to calculate 3 to 6 seconds of following distance. Pick that fixed object and start counting, remember? Lane placement for the 3-lane highway, 2-lane road, residential development. You took a picture of that slide. It had the 3 pictures at the bottom. What type of accidents most dangerous and costly? Backing or intersection? Intersection, higher rates of speed, always involves another human. It's 11:02. It is time for our first break. You do not have to hang up. You can simply mute your phone, put it down, and take a break. We will start again in 7.5 minutes at 11:10. See you at 11:10. All right. We're back at it. Another 40 slides for section 2-ish. Section 2, we're going to talk about professional parking techniques, commercial and residential parking scenarios, the dangers of backing up our vehicles, vehicle size, safety technology, DOT hours of service. We're not going to take a quiz or a test, but we're going to talk through some more parking scenarios at the end. So this first picture here, do you think this was a parking or driving accident? Any ideas? Parking or driving? Most people say driving, but actually this is a parking accident, or more aptly named unparking. This driver had pulled front end first into this driveway, and they were backing out onto this road. They cut the wheel too hard. It was a rainy day. They didn't have good visibility out of their camera in the back or their mirrors because there was water on it. And they missed the fact that they weren't out far enough before cutting the wheel and went down into that culvert. You're going to be faced with thousands of driveways just like this one, probably on rainy days on country roads. We do not pull headfirst into short residential driveways. This is what happens, or one of the things that happens when you pull headfirst into one of these short driveways.
Park in front of the driveway.
Hello, welcome to Ground Cloud University. Today, we will be learning about the dangers of parking your truck like a car. Let's go into the classroom and take a closer look at driveway dangers. Driveway dangers. Some of these dangers include the house itself, basketball hoop, tree branches, toys including bicycles, overhead cable and power lines, oil and coolant leak, lawn damage caused by tires missing the driveway, mailbox, and finally, the upset customer.
No.
As you can see, there are plenty of driveway dangers. So let's service our customers and not upset our customers by staying out of their driveways.
So let's go look at this. This cracks me up. You see this? That's about the widest short residential driveway I've ever seen in my life. That's a P1200. That's like the biggest Freightliner. Yeah, as far as a step van goes. None of our driveways are that wide. They're less than half of that. And they're, driving this thing around in here showing you like, this is a problem. So if it's a problem to do it in that big of a driveway, it's a problem to do it in every driveway. Okay. They're trying to get across here. Do not pull into short driveways. That's all there is to it. Do not do it. I can't be any more obvious about it. And then they got to back out. They're going to run over a mailbox. You can't see out of the back of that thing. Anyway, all right. So on to this slide. So look, is this a car or a truck habit? Without professional training, a new driver will operate their vehicle like it's a car. They don't have any perspective. They're driving, right? That's what they've driven. They think it's safer to back out into an area where the vehicles and people are moving because they perceive this area as being bigger and safer. The area behind them is bigger than backing into that spot, but the environment's ever changing with people coming and going. So it's always safer to place the commercial vehicle's back end to the environment that's changing the least, or the environment you have more control over. That's not and oh, by the way, it's a FedEx truck this time. They just had to blur it out. They don't blur out the Amazon, but they blur out the FedEx. Kind of funny. They're not telling you they want you to park between two cars like this at this Wendy's, but they're just trying to say, hey, this is what an inexperienced driver would do, because they think they'll be able to back out of that spot. And that's just not what a professional driver would do. All right, take a picture of this one. Without proper training, would you do anything different than this Amazon driver did? What problems do you see? I can list them. He pulled headfirst into a short driveway again. People ask me, well, how do you know it's short? You can't see the road. Well, I can't see the road, but I can see the mailboxes. He should have pulled into, curved into the front of that driveway to get off of the road, put his blinkers on, and then walk that package up to that front porch. Now he's got to back out onto a road with poor visibility. If you look at this mailbox, these mailboxes down here, they're leaning forward. So they're probably down in the side of a culvert. So he's going to have to go over that, the culvert on both sides of the vehicle. It's a gravel driveway. He may go off that driveway. If you look here, we've got a van parked next to us, and it looks like we have a well over here to the right, or a septic cover. There's a bunch of different things that you don't want to get involved in. Real quickly, let's talk about property damage. We saw in the video the basketball hoops, the gutters. Last summer, on a rainy day, we accidentally backed over a piece of a customer's lawn. We took out a sprinkler head. The sprinkler head cracked the pipe that led to the sprinkler head and started to gush water. Our driver did the right thing. They saw it. They alerted the customer. They knew they put a rut in the front yard. At Bella, we always do the right thing with property damage. So what is the right thing? We alert the customers immediately. What's that look like? Well, we walk up to the front door, we ring the bell, and Mrs. Smith comes to the door, and we say, Mrs. Smith, I'm so sorry. I ran over your flower pot. I knocked over your mailbox. I crushed your gutter. I put a divot in your front yard that's 6 feet deep. Whatever that is. This is my manager's phone number. He will be calling you. We will take care of getting this fixed. There's a reason for this. If we do not do that, everybody and their grandmother these days has a Ring doorbell. So you're not going to get away with the fact that, oh, I damaged this person's property, but they're not going to find out it was me. It could have been anybody. Even though you're leaving a FedEx package on their front door stoop, right? So we tell our customers the impact of that is severe, because if you don't do that and they decide, well, I'm calling FedEx and complaining because it had to be them. They're the only package I received today. And oh, by the way, I have it on my video from my camera. FedEx is going to turn around and not only make us pay for the damage anyway, they're going to fine us $5,000 per incident. Doesn't matter if it was a sprinkler head, a flower pot, a basketball hoop. It's a $5,000 fine for property damage to a customer. So we get in front of it so that they don't have to call FedEx. And we call the manager, terminal manager, immediately after we've spoken to Mrs. Smith. Hey, talk to Mrs. Smith, or hey, I had to leave Mrs. Smith a message. I ran over her flower pot. I feel horribly, but can you call Mrs. Smith as well and make sure that she understands that we'll take care of it? That's how we handle property damage claims. That's one of the big reasons why we don't go in these short driveways. Long driveways are bad enough, but at least at typical long driveways, we have a place to turn around our big trucks. Okay, off my soapbox. Next. Another Amazon driver. He learned it's not a good idea to back out onto the street. He just failed to realize the width of the driveway, tried to turn around on the driveway. He got his front tires stuck in that driveway, or in the grass next to the driveway, I should say. That is a Dodge Ram ProMaster, I believe. They are front-wheel drive vehicles. He's digging holes in that front yard as we speak and ultimately needed a tow out, causing property damage. So in this instance, we probably should have just, and you can't see from this picture where the house is. That might have been a long driveway. I kind of doubt it if he's turning around there. You probably should have just pulled in right there at the edge of that driveway and put your blinkers on and walked the package. We're in the short driveway section, so I'm imagining that that's a short driveway. Parking like a pro. Closest isn't always best. Take a picture of this. So we do want you to get as close to your delivery point as possible, but only if it's safe. This driver will not be able to pull forward when they return to the vehicle. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few seconds. The driver parked there because the exit door aligned with the sidewalk. The driver thinks they can back into this open parking spot behind them. This is called backing second, not backing first. What if someone pulls into this spot? They come back onto the driver's side and hop in the van. They can't see that new car there in their vehicle until it's too late. They cut the wheel, step on the gas. They're back into the car that parked here behind them. So he also is going to have to back over a crosswalk, which is never good. So take a picture. After returning to the driver's seat, this is the #1 rule. Always be able to pull forward. A vehicle should be parked in a manner to be able to pull forward when you get back into it. Step #2 is in 3 parts, and we're going to have consecutive slides on each of these parts, but the 3 steps to be able to pull forward is limit backing by swinging the vehicle around. Back now. If you can't swing, then back now. And then third is limit the total distance altogether. So we're going to talk about these backing accidents and these steps to avoid, or to make yourself able to pull forward. So take a picture. Let's go on a trip to Outback. This is Outback Steakhouse. Manager looks like he's in the morning, so it's probably like 10 a.m. before lunch rush. The waiters and waitresses haven't even gotten there yet. Big empty parking lot. We pull our Aero truck into the parking lot. And what we do is we pull all the way down and swing the vehicle around to our delivery point. Notice how he parks his Aero truck halfway into the spot in front of him. This is commanding the space around your vehicle. And what I mean by that is when he gets back into the truck, even if somebody correctly parks in the spot in front of him, he'll still be able to cut the wheel and pull forward to get out of that parking spot. So you always want to command these spaces around your entire vehicle and be able to pull forward when you get back into the vehicle. So he hops out, makes his delivery, hops in, gets in and pulls forward and out of the parking lot. Goes to his next delivery, and lo and behold, I don't have anywhere to swing the vehicle. What am I going to do? He realizes that there's 2 parking spots adjacent to one another that he can back into. That's the most narrow thing we want to back into. You'll do what's called a swoop technique. You will drive past your point of parking, and then you'll back into that spot over the center line of 2 spaces. You'll straddle that center line. This allows you to give yourself space when pulling out to avoid tail swing. Many new drivers don't realize that there's up to 4 feet of tail swing behind their vehicle, depending on the length of the box behind the vehicle, up to 4 feet from your rear tire to your rear bumper, and that will swing out when you cut the wheel. So you want to have enough space on either side of your vehicle to prevent that tail swing from going out and clipping the vehicle beside you. So that was backing now. Last one, take a picture. Limit the total distance the vehicle goes in reverse altogether. Keep it to an absolute minimum due to the increased blind spots and potential hazards associated with backing. Next one. Take a picture. Did you use your mirrors and backup camera? These help provide a 360-degree view. Don't stare at one, the mirror, or the other, just the camera. Worst case scenario, remember our first van in this section. He was had a rainy day. The mirror was bad with water. The window had water. The backup camera was wet. You know, it looks like it's glazed over. You can't see out of it. You can always use the goal technique. Get out and look. Take a picture. Did you control your speed while backing? Back up slowly. Always keep your foot over your brake. Did you use your horn and flashers? Friendly tap of the horn will alert others. Flashers will catch the attention of others. Don't be in a rush. Don't do this all simultaneously while you're throwing it into reverse. Turn the flashers on. Hit the horn. Put it in reverse. Step on the pedal. Keep your foot over the brake. Do these things all prior to actually moving backwards. Backing design dangers. So humans have eyes in the front of our heads, right? We designed our vehicles to move forward because we move forward. They're not designed to go backwards. However, look at the difference between a car and a P1000 step van. In a car, you have miles of glass all around you. You can see completely around the vehicle simply by turning your head. You can look over your shoulder to the inside and see behind you if you have to, and look at this blind spot over here. I mean, we're not owls, right? We can't turn our heads all the way around, but it's pretty simple to get a 360-degree view sitting in the middle of this vehicle. Contrast that with this P1000. You're sitting way up here. 90% of the vehicle, sorry, I don't want to move it. 90% of the, in reverse, I'll crash into the car. 90% of the vehicle is behind you. There's a bulkhead here. The door is usually closed. In the summertime, it gets hot back there. Your air conditioning's only in the front. If you leave that bulkhead door open, you'll sweat to death. You create a sweat box. So you cannot see behind these vehicles without the use of mirrors and technology. And even if you can, it's not a good view. You really don't want to go backwards for extended period of time. Look at these vehicles. A minivan, 15 feet of blind spot directly behind the vehicle. Pickup truck, 30 feet. Cargo van, this guy here, 41 feet. A medium truck. That's one of those like boom trucks, like power company trucks. That's 45 feet. Here's a P1000. We have 3 P1000s in our fleet. They're all in Nightdale. 90 feet of blind spot directly behind a P1000. I mean, that's almost a third of a football field. 30 yards. So take a picture of this one. Rule 99, forward versus reverse. 99% of the time we operate our vehicles going forward, less than 1% of the time we drive backwards, yet the majority of our accidents are caused by going in reverse. In other words, most of our accidents are caused by less than 1% of our drive time. This is on the test. What's Rule 99? Okay. Intersections are the most dangerous and costly. Backing up is most of our accidents. So let's park like a pro again. So we're going to talk about loading docks. We do have some commercial deliveries. You're going to use the same technique as you would with the swoop technique to back into a driveway or to back in between those two parking spaces and straddle it, if possible. So you're gonna do a swoop and align yourself with the bay. You're going to stay close. You're not going to pull way out here. If you pull way out, someone can sneak behind you. You don't want people sneaking behind you. You want to do a driver's side maneuver because it provides the best visibility. You can look out your driver's side window. Just like we're not owls, we're not giraffes either. We can't stick our head out the passenger side window. So we can look out the driver's side window and back using all of the tools available to us, including our own heads looking out the window. Use our horn and flashers like we do backing up any other time. Control our speed with the brake over the foot, our foot over the brake, strike that, reverse it. The dock door is not better than your brakes. Use the brakes and gently make contact with the door. Flush is best. Ensure the vehicle is even with the dock plate. This will allow for easy loading and unloading, as well as prevent injuries. Okay. Not all of our vans or even box trucks are big enough to align with some of the loading docks that we deliver to. Some of them are tractor trailer docks. Some of them are box truck docks. And some of our box trucks aren't tall enough, and our vans definitely are not tall enough. That said, you still back to the location. You back up far enough that you can still open your doors. Some of our doors open outward. So you got to give yourself some space. And then you'll have to stand on the ground and lift the package from the bed of the van up onto the dock. Some of your packages are heavy. So this is a challenge if you are muscularly challenged. How's that? Is what I'll say. Make sure you eat your Wheaties because some of these boxes are heavy. We don't do forklifts with pallets, although we are now currently in the process of fighting over a load that we're being asked to take that's all palletized. That was yesterday. I don't know what the outcome of that was, but we don't do pallet loads. Now, some of these larger companies get smart and they label every single box on a pallet. And we have to take those boxes one by one and load our van on those pickups. So we've done a pallet full of boxes before, one by one. Part of the job.
Welcome to Ground Cloud University. Today we'll be talking about professional parking techniques, short driveways. Let's look at 4 possible parking techniques at a short driveway. You can choose A, beyond the driveway, B, blocking the driveway, C, below the driveway, and finally D, in the driveway. Let's see what can happen if you choose A. Now let's see what can happen if you choose C and park below the driveway. And if you chose D, remember, customers are expecting their packages to be delivered, not their property to be destroyed. And finally, let's watch this professional driver. Notice how he slows down for the oncoming car due to the overhead hazard in the road. Once clear of the overhead hazard, he then pulls forward and blocks the driveway. And notice how blocking the driveway not only keeps the customer safe, but allows the driver to step onto a smooth surface. So if you chose B, congratulations, you're on your way to becoming a professional driver.
All right, so we block people in. Happened to me once at my old house. FedEx driver did it. I didn't know whether I was a short driveway or a long driveway, but now I know. My old house was considered a short driveway. I was pulling out of my garage as he was walking up to the house, so I wasn't pulling out when he parked the truck. But I thought, oh my gracious, how inconsiderate! I can't believe that he would park me in. How dumb of him! It would have been much closer just to park in front of the house and walk across the yard versus go all the way to the driveway and walk back to the front door. I had no idea he was protecting me from my own stupidity. So again, they're protecting themselves by stepping on a flat surface. If he had stepped out into my front yard, I had a bunch of holes in my front yard. I had a culvert. He could have stepped in a hole. Protect the customer by me driving out into traffic, and protect the other drivers by striking me as I drove out into traffic. So that is why we park the way we do. And take a picture of this, because this picture will be on the test, and this tells you the right way and the wrong way. The left is the right way, the right is the wrong way. Okay, overhead hazards. We kind of talked a little bit about these before. Anybody know how tall a P1000 is? I'll tell you. It's 11 feet, 1 inches tall. That's our tallest truck right now. A basketball hoop is 10 feet. These gutters, probably a little bit less. At Christmas, as a company, we replaced 1 gutter and 1 basketball hoop damaged by the same driver. He's no longer with us. That said, you're going to run into these things. Or we hope you don't run into these things, but you're going to see these things every day. That's why we don't pull in these short driveways. Too much going on.
Brown Cloud University. Today we'll be learning about professional parking techniques, long driveways. These are the topics to review. Topic number 1, walk in or drive in. Topic number 2, the swoop technique. And topic number 3, pulling up too far before backing. As you approach the long driveway, you should evaluate 3 things: the vehicle size, the package size, and the driveway size. The vehicle size is going to be based on how big is your truck. Package size is going to be how big is the package? Can you walk this package up safely? And the driveway size is how long, how wide, and look up for any overhead hazards and look down for any ground hazards like ice or mud. And lastly, can you get your truck turned around instead of backing? Prior to backing up, you should utilize the swoop technique. This allows you to reduce the amount of space needed to back your vehicle. Here we have an example of a good swoop technique followed by pulling forward too far, which exposed this driver to a possible backing accident. The driver must remember to command the space behind their vehicle. And finally, once you have space behind your truck, slowly back into the driveway only as far as necessary, getting your front end of the truck off the roadway.
So if you have to walk the package, that's how you get your truck off the road. You've got to keep a lot of things in mind. Vehicle size, driveway size, package size. We do drive into long driveways. Some long driveways are half a mile long. The picture that you saw in the snow of the house at the top of the hill, that's considered a long driveway. Probably has a turnaround at the top. It looked to have a turnaround at the top. So you'll be able to turn around at a lot of these long driveways. But you have to be wary of overhead stuff as well. Am I going under tree limbs? Am I going to break a tree limb? That's property damage. Even if a customer hasn't trimmed their tree limb, it's their tree limb not to trim. We do have bags. If you cannot get up a driveway, you can bag the package and put it at the end of the driveway. You cannot put it in a mailbox. You'll have to bag it and take a picture of the delivery point. That's called P-pod or picture proof of delivery. Every single one of our packages has that picture proof. Some houses have gates that you can't go in. You put it inside the gate or in front of the gate in the bag, P-pod it. But you're going to learn this as you learn your route. You'll learn what's a driveway you can and can't go into. But by and large, short driveways, stay away from. Long driveways are always a risk. We took out a cable line about 3 weeks ago now, going up a driveway. It was a mud driveway, and we were driving up a hill to a house. The truck slipped. The cable line was low. We were on the edge of the driveway, and the line was sagging down because of rain, and we caught it with the front of the truck and took a cable line out. So those are the things we want to try to avoid. So take a picture of this. Yeah.
I have a question on a long driveway.
Yes.
If you can't see the house, but you feel that they have enough room to turn and you get up there and there's only enough room to maybe turn with the car, what's your option?
Yeah, that's a great question. You are going to ultimately have to slowly back down that driveway. I mean, we can't plant the truck. We can't plant the truck there forever. That's not what we want to do. And you're not going to be able to see the house on some of these. I've done Buckhannon up in your neck of the woods, up on these sides of these mountains. And I was fortunately at the time in my Jeep, I was able to navigate that stuff, but I looked at some of these driveways and I'm like, man, I would have had to walk this package up here. So that's really your option, or you can bag it and put it at the end of the driveway.
Bag it and put it in there. Okay.
Yep. A lot of those houses, especially up in your neck of the woods, they put delivery bins out at the driveway. They have dogs, they have critters. They don't want people on their land, and they'll put a box with a lock on it, or it looks like a lock. It's usually always unlocked, but it's a hinged box that it'll say packages, FedEx, UPS, Amazon, and that's where people leave their packages. So make sure you look for those. Take a picture of this screenshot. These are questions on the test. Size of summarize professional parking, list the 3 rules of backing, explain how blocking a short residential driveway benefits the people it benefits, and then take a picture of this one. What 3 things should you consider or size up before committing to a long driveway? Vehicle size, driveway size, and package size. All right, professional awareness, take a picture. New drivers will have to contend with a different turning radius, tail swing, increased blind spots, overhead hazards, increased stopping distance due to larger weight. Not only that, that's not the only, that they're all different for all the different vehicles in our fleet. Our Sprinter vans, we don't have any 26-foot box trucks, but we do have the P1000 step vans. And then we've got 4 different sizes of box trucks as well. 14, 16, 18, and the 16s are two different brands, Ford and Chevy. So you're going to have to contend with a lot of differences in these vehicles. Once you're on a route, you'll mostly be in the same vehicle, but from time to time we change routes. We cover other people's routes. You might be off on a day and then end up covering somebody else's route. So you'll be in a different vehicle. Let me ask you this. Can anybody tell me, and take a picture of this, can anybody tell me how you tell a turning radius of a vehicle by just looking at it? It's a trick question. You can't. You have to physically drive it. There's no way to know how many times your wheel turns around. There's no way to know. You physically have to drive it. So if you're in a new van on a new day or a new truck, you may have to go out on the lot, the parking lot, and drive around and do some circles and do some turns to figure out how it drives. But you'll always have to know your turning radius so you can calculate your turn before you turn. You're going to have to know how to do it before you maneuver the truck. Take a picture of this one. Let's talk about vehicle size with tail swing. Well, actually, we're not going to talk about it because we already talked about tail swing on the other side, but take a picture because that question is on the test. Take a picture of this one. This is on the test. This slide is on the test, and it's talking about the worst blind spots on your vehicle. They are directly behind your vehicle and in front of the passenger side front bumper. Directly behind the vehicle, passenger side front bumper. That's what's on the test. So, blind spot awareness, some more blind spot stuff. You can always get out and look, directly behind the vehicle. If you can't tell what's back there, you probably don't want to back up. You probably want to get out and look at it. Mirror check. Scan your mirrors every 5 to 7 seconds to ensure you have proper lane presence and lane placement, because you got blind spots on the sides of your vehicle as well. Take a picture of this one. This is on the test. Stopping distance. Two things on this slide are on the test. The definition of stopping distance. It's defined as the distance required to safely stop your vehicle and the vehicle behind you. And it's impacted by speed, weather, vehicle maintenance, and reaction time. Stopping distance formula is on the test, and we'll summarize it as this. Thinking distance plus braking distance equals stopping distance. Well, you may say, Joel, what's thinking distance? I don't understand. From the time you think you need to stop to the vehicle to the time your foot hits the pedal, that's your thinking distance. Your braking distance is everything that comes after you hit the pedal when you're slowing down. So, stopping distance and how speed and thinking impacts your stopping distance. So at 20 miles an hour, you can see thinking distance is this gray bar. They're both gray. The dark gray bar and the light gray bar is your braking distance. So at 20 miles an hour, you've only got 3 car lengths in total distance, 1.5 per. So your thinking distance is 1.5. Your braking distance is 1.5 for a total of 3, about 40 feet. At 70, you've got 5 car lengths of thinking distance and 17 car lengths of braking distance for a total of 315 feet. So you can see how speed impacts your total overall stopping distance. But it isn't only speed. What about weight? Let's say you're in a car versus a semi, right? At 20 miles an hour, you stop much shorter in the car than you do in the semi because it's heavier. Lo and behold, there it is at 60 miles an hour as well. You stop shorter in the car than you do in the semi, although the distances are further because you were traveling at a greater speed. Take a picture of this one. VEDR. Vehicle event data recorder is a camera mounted in the commercial vehicle that records specific events in and outside of the truck. Reactive coaching will help sharpen your professional driving and parking techniques to ensure a safe and successful logistics career. Okay. VEDR cameras are in all of our trucks. They're required by FedEx. They do film. They are gyroscope activated. They only film when there's an event that triggers the gyroscope. So an accident will trigger the gyroscope, a hard turn, hard braking. Those will be all triggering events. We also equipped all of our trucks with extra cameras. We have a system called Samsara. I think I explained to you guys in our initial interview that we do grading each week, and safety is one of the things that we grade on. Samsara cameras are where we get part of our safety grade. They give our grade on speeding or harsh braking or phone usage or distracted driving. They're AI technology. They're on constantly. They watch you. People think it's invasive. I'm sorry, there are trucks. That's how we feel. And we want you to be safe in our vehicles because there are vehicles. That's the best way I can tell you. What I will tell you is this. We've had these cameras for almost a year now. Our safety scores have continued to improve and our accidents have continued to diminish. We do fine our drivers for use of mobile phones. We give a warning, then we give 3 strikes. It's $25 per strike. 3 strikes and you're out. If people aren't going to not use their phone while they're driving, we don't want them driving our trucks. It will be in the code of conduct that I send you later today that you will sign that you're aware of this. I had a very good driver who could do 25 plus stops an hour. And he was here prior to the cameras. Otherwise, he was very safe. But I couldn't make an exception for him because he refused to stop texting and driving and talking on the phone and driving. We allow you to wear a headset, earpods. We think that having your hands on the wheel is better than the alternative of having your phone to your ear and talking on the phone. So we don't want you to talk on the phone while you're driving, but you can do it. Some people have emergency calls they have to make. You stop 100 times a day. If you need to return a call or a text, you can do that when the vehicle is not in gear. If that vehicle is in gear, you are not to be on your cell phones. You are not to be texting. You are to be paying attention to your GPS and to the road and driving. That's what you're getting paid for. You guys are professional drivers. That's how seriously we take it. I'm on my soapbox right now, but I'm up here unapologetically. There are too many drivers on the road today that are unsafe. We don't need another one out there doing the same things that people do in their cars in trucks that are way bigger and way more dangerous. There, I've said it off the soapbox. Other technology. 3-camera system. Take a picture of this. The 3-camera systems mounted to both sides or in the rear of our vehicles. Engaging events or turn signals in reverse. This will change the picture in the cab view to improve visibility for drivers and reduce rear and side blind spots. The increased visibility will decrease the potential of sideswiping accidents that are related to turning. Backup sensors. This is sonar. It will reduce common backing overhead accidents because drivers are usually focused on the rear tires and not looking for overhead obstacles. As much as we try, as much as these backup sensors blare inside the cab and tell us that there's something there overhead, we still have drivers backing into basketball hoops and gutters and tree limbs and putting holes in roofs of our trucks. If it's going off, it's not kidding. It knows that there is something there. Put it in park, get out and look. There's no reason to keep backing up and just get closer and take a chance. These vehicles are expensive. We don't need insurance claims or property damage claims. All right, these are more that I have to read verbatim. Take some pictures. Here we go. DOT hours of service rules are in place to keep fatigued drivers off the roadways. Number one score. Most motor carriers like FedEx operate under one DOT number for the entire company. This means that motor carriers like FedEx are being evaluated on the performance of their 165,000 plus drivers and the mechanical condition of their 89,000 plus vehicles. Whoops, sorry. Terminology. On duty is any time a driver is performing job-related tasks, whether working for their motor carrier or at a different job. Off duty is anytime the driver is released from performing a job-related task. Take a picture of this one. 10-hour rule. A driver must have 10 hours of off duty before starting to drive a commercial motor vehicle. 11-hour rule. A driver may drive up to 11 total hours before taking a required 10-hour break. 14-hour rule. Once a driver begins their on-duty status, they may not drive beyond the 14-hour limit, meaning you have to fit that 11 hours of drive time inside of 14 hours. So you take a bathroom break, you're loading the truck in the morning, you take a lunch break, whatever it is, you got to have that 11 inside of 14. 16-hour rule. If you drive short distances in a truck that does not require a CDL, that's what we drive, you may be able to use the non-CDL short haul exemption. 60-hour rule. A driver may not drive after 60 hours on duty in 7 days, or 70-hour rule is 70 hours on duty in 8 days. And then the 34-hour rule is a driver is required to take 34 consecutive hours off duty time before beginning a new 60/7 or 70/8 time cycle. So you work Saturday through Friday, you work all 6 days, but take Sunday off. Saturday night at 5 o'clock, you're home, you're off, you got all night, then 24 hours to Monday morning, and then plus 8 hours till 8 o'clock when you show, or 7:30 when you show up at work. That's in excess of 34 hours. So that's your 34-hour break. Short haul 100/150 air mile exemption. A short haul driver is someone who consistently operates with a 100 air mile radius on CDL vehicles or 150 air mile radius on non-CDL required vehicles of their central work location. That's us. Short haul drivers are exempt from maintaining driver logs or using ELDs to keep track of their total on-duty, off-duty, or drive time hours of service. They can simply use time cards or other time tracking devices in place of driver logs or ELDs to keep track of their daily hours of service. We use our scanners. That tracks our ELD. That ELD tracks our time. All right, there is no quiz. I lied. There is, however, scenarios that we're going to walk through. So remember the Outback. Remember the Alamo. This is a lot that we're going to deliver in. We have a big empty lot. We're going to pull in and use all of the space and do a big swing the vehicle technique, swing the vehicle around, and we're going to park in front of our delivery door. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there's no cars, and we're able to park halfway into the spot in front of us and command the space around our vehicle. We hop out of the vehicle, we make our delivery, we come back, put our seatbelts on, put the vehicle in gear, and pull forward, cutting the wheel, driving out of the parking lot. Same stuff, different day, different situation. We pull into the lot and realize that there's only this one parking spot with area for us to straddle a line between two spaces. So we do a swoop technique and we back in over those two spaces, straddling the line in order to control the space around our vehicle again. Then we will get out, make our delivery, come back to our truck, get in, put our seatbelt on. We can now pull out and not worry about the tail swing, swiping the car next to us, and go to the exit of the lot. Any questions about those two scenarios?
No.
Someone asked, what if that spot's taken? What do I do now? And there's no real spot available. The only thing I could think is maybe park over here by the side of this building. That was the next closest thing that seemed quote unquote available, even though it wasn't a spot. All right, we are at 11:59, 12 o'clock on the nose. We're going to take a 15-minute break because I've got to enter you guys into Ground Cloud so that I can get your tests to you. I've got your information though, so I'll be able to do that quickly. And we'll start right back at 12:15. We'll see you in a few. You don't have to hang up. You can just put it on mute. We'll see you in a few. Hey, Derek, real quick. Can you hear me? I just sent you a reminder text. I had sent you the test link on Friday, but there was obviously no sense in doing it because we couldn't finish the class. Do you still have that text?
I've got it either on my phone, or did you send it text or
It went via text. It absolutely went via text, and you should have just got another text. That's a reminder that I just sent you. That should have the link again.
okay, I've got it on text. Yeah,
Okay,
I
great.
was
All right,
able
just
to
want to
get.
make sure it was there. I got everybody. You were, I already input you. I didn't have to input you into the system. So we're good to go. And you've got your test. And we'll have about another 35 minutes, maybe 45 minutes with some other instructions after we get back here in about 5 more minutes.
Okay,
All right.
fantastic. But if you want to email it to me, I'll get my Yahoo account.
The
And
system does an email.
okay,
The
that's
system
fine.
only, yeah, it only shows it via text. So everybody's
Okay,
had to do it on their phone, unfortunately. Um,
that's fine.
there is actually a way to log in on the computer that I can teach you if you'd rather do it on a computer. I'll explain that to both of you when we get back on the phone, though.
And I did get that text.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have to do it on your computer, you can, and I'm gonna send you guys instructions on how to do that after the class. I'm breaking up a little bit. All right, I'll be right back. All righty, here we go. Section 3. Diamond, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry I've been so quiet, but I've been definitely listening.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure you were back.
It's because I have my children with me, so they're
I
playing
get
games
it.
in the back.
No,
Yep,
I thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's okay.
no problem.
All righty, here we go. Section 3. This is a sprint to the finish, guys. These two sections are about 30 slides together. So we'll be done, in about a half hour, and then I'll release you to take your test. Diamond, you
can't
should have
hear
gotten
you,
a
Joel.
text during the break. Derek
Yeah.
already had his. Okay.
Yeah,
It
I
just
got the
says
text message. I checked
you-
it out.
Excellent. Okay. You have a new training. If you cannot take it on your phone or that's too difficult with the slides, I can get you your username and password for the website and the web address. And then you can log in and go to training courses and do it on a computer.
I'm not getting you.
Okay, that's fine. I
Okay.
should be able to do it on my phone though.
Okay. That's fine. Either way. Some people prefer to see it on a bigger screen and then use their phone for their screenshots. But either way,
Still
6 and 1 have
nothing.
to. Can you hear me, Derek? You there? Okay. So let's get going. Speed and how it increases serious accidents. So posted speed limit signs are meant for ideal driving conditions. Reduction in speed provides the driver with increased reaction time. Increased reaction time helps give vehicles around them time to react and avoid possible rear-end collisions. So the chances of a serious accident, including injury and or death, increases as the speed and the weight of the vehicle increases. So if you look at this pie chart, motor vehicle deaths by speed limit, this was in 2015. You can see that less than 35 miles an hour in purple was only 25% of fatalities, 27% of fatalities from 40 to 50, and then 48% of fatalities greater than 55 miles an hour. So as speed increases, the fatality rate increases. Take a picture of this one. So adverse weather conditions, professional driving techniques. Easy does it. Ease on the gas pedal to keep tires from slipping, skidding on wet, snow, or ice-covered pavement. Give me a break. Sorry, someone's calling me. Give me a break.
One that can't hear you.
What's that? I didn't hear you, Tony. Or Derek, sorry. Give me a break. Ease on the brake pedal to give your vehicle and those behind you time
I
to.
can't hear you, Joel.
Diamond, can you hear me? Frank?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me send.
I can hear you.
Okay. Let me send a chat. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have to type a message for him. If your speakers aren't working.
I've got my closed caption on so I can read it.
Okay.
Closed caption.
Gotcha. Just take screenshots. Can you see the messages? Can you see the messages in the chat?
Okay, I've got.
Got it. Okay. All right, guys. We're gonna keep moving forward. So easy brake in, gas out. Brake before the turn, then press the gas as the vehicle comes out of the turn. So that's adverse weather conditions. Slippery roads. So C and B scene, windshield, headlights, brake. You got to make sure your windshields and brake or headlights are clear of snow. Wipe and wash. Check your wipers and your washer fluid. Nothing worse than having all that schmutz on the windshield, and then it getting sunny out and you can't see through it at all. Take a picture of this one. The pre-trip becomes even more important during adverse weather conditions. Take a second to inspect your tires, wipers, windshield, and lights. Your stopping distance in different weather is different. So on a dry road at 35 miles an hour, you can stop between 60 and 100 feet. Wet road, it's 120 feet or more. Packed snow or road, it's 180 feet or more. Ice cover road, pack a lunch, 600 feet or more. Take a picture of this one. Skidding is caused by the speed at which the wheels interact with the road surface. Common causes for skidding are accelerating too fast, braking too hard, driving too fast for road conditions, poorly maintained vehicles. So how to handle and drive out of a front wheel skid. If your front wheels skid from hard braking, release the brake, ease off the accelerator if the front wheels lose traction, shift to neutral in an automatic. All of our trucks are automatic. That's all you need to worry about. Wait for wheels to grip the road again, and then shift back into drive and accelerate gently and drive at a safe speed. A little bit different for a rear wheel skid. How to handle and drive out of a rear wheel. Release the brake if the rear wheels skid from hard braking. Ease off the accelerator if the rear wheels lose traction. Shift to neutral in an automatic. Keep your eyes down the road and be aware of how the vehicle's responded to your steering. Steer the vehicle in the direction you want it to go. Once the vehicle is straight, return the vehicle to drive from neutral and then drive at a safe speed. Take a picture of this one. The 3 types of distractions: visual, taking your eyes off the road; manual, taking your hands off the wheel; and cognitive, taking your mind off the road. And there are some examples here of visual, manual, and cognitive. You know, your phone, your map. Manual, eating or drinking. Cognitive, taking your mind off. You know, you talking, listening to a radio program or podcast, or thinking. So this is on the test. Take a picture. Professional drivers will eliminate the distractions we just talked about by following the simple motto while operating any vehicle. Just drive. Right here. Take a picture. Professional drivers face a greater risk due to the amount of time they're surrounded by distracted drivers. So these statistics are 10 years old. I can't imagine where they are today, but this is a great example right here. The percentage of drivers text messaging or visibly manipulating handheld devices in 2013 was 1.7%. In 2014, it was 2.2%. So 10 years ago, it went up year over year, 1.7 to 2.2. I got to believe it's somewhere in the 20s these days. There's so many people out there text messaging and driving. Also, drivers in their 20s are 38% of the distracted drivers who were visibly using cell phones in fatal crashes. That's a big number. That's almost, 2/5. That's a big number of young people not paying attention. I don't know if they feel invincible, but that's what this course is about. You guys staying safe while you're out there and, not being a pinball with all of these people who are playing bumper cars. Night driving. Don't overdrive your headlights. Headlights at 40 miles an hour will go 200 feet, but the stopping distance required to slow your vehicle down is 249 feet. So Bambi sitting at 227 feet, will be street pizza. That said, your high beams will go 350 feet. So that increases your visibility beyond your stopping distance. So it's always best to use your high beams when you can. Clearly, you can't blind other people. So you just need to be careful. We try to get out en route early so that we're not out past during dark. I will tell you, during the holiday season, during peak season, we are out past during dark. Out during dark. Out past dark during holiday season. Sorry, had to think about that one. So, night driving statistics. Traffic death rates are 3 times higher at night than during the day. There's slower brain function with tired drivers, more impaired drivers at night. Impaired drivers get beer muscles and take more risks. Reduced field of vision, all kinds of things that make nighttime driving more dangerous. It also slows you down on route. If you could do 20 stops during the day, you might only be able to do 8 stops an hour during the night. So 20 down to 8, it makes you slower. That's why we want to make use of all the daytime we can. Okay, blood alcohol content greater than 0.08 is illegal. 160-pound man would need to drink 4 in an hour to reach that BAC. Different weights have different impacts on BAC. We're not here to judge how much you drink or how often you drink. It's just don't drink and drive. Any conviction per our operating agreement of operating a vehicle with under the influence of alcohol or a controlled substance will be disqualified for 12 months on a first conviction and a lifetime for a second conviction. So no get out of jail for the second conviction, 1 year suspension or disqualification, as FedEx puts it, for a one-time conviction. So that was section 3. Now on to section 4. Oh, marijuana. Sorry. Virginia has laxened their marijuana laws. FedEx doesn't care. It's still against the law federally. If you test positive for any drug, you will have a automatic disqualification for at least 1 year, just like with the second conviction of that or second testing positive of that, it's a lifetime ban. So no drugs, no DUIs, DWIs, whatever they're called in your state. Section 4, dangers of delivery, slips, trips, and falls. Take a picture, proper lifting techniques, dog bites, seat belts, danger zones, railroad crossings, and then we'll talk about the road test standards and get you guys on your way. But next to video.
Let's go into the classroom and learn about professional delivery techniques, entry and exit routine. Meet Matt. He's our safety and service champion. He delivers professional service to our customers. Now meet Maverick. He's our safety and service chump. He is just an accident waiting to happen. Let's watch Maverick deliver a package. Now let's watch Matt, a real safety and service professional. Matt's professional tips. Use 3 points of contact when entering or exiting your vehicle. Don't jump in or out of your truck. Look where you are stepping. Land on a flat surface. Do not run. And look where you are walking as you're delivering your packages. So to provide superior customer service, let's be like Matt and not like Maverick.
Boy, that Maverick, I'll tell you. So use 3 points of contact. Don't jump in and out of the vehicle. Look where you're stepping. Land on a flat surface. Don't run. Look where you're walking. Don't block your vision with the packages. And then try to walk on snow surfaces to avoid ice. People shovel their walks. They don't put salt out. They ice over. Walk on the snow. I'm not going to read these next two. I'm just going to allow you to take pictures. It's how to lift and how not to lift. So take a picture. Derek, has your audio picked back up?
No, it hasn't. I'm reading the caption.
I got you. Okay, and take a picture. All right, dog bites. Let's move on.
Hello, welcome to Ground Cloud University. Today we will be talking about professional delivery techniques, dog bites. Friend or foe? Let's watch these videos and learn a better way to deal with dogs. This driver would have avoided being chased had he announced his presence by beeping his horn or announcing the name of his company as he's walking up the driveway. Don't surprise the animal because the dog will either fight or flight once startled. If the dog runs out from an open door, try not to run back to the truck. Keep in mind that you have 2 legs and the dog has 4. They will always catch up to you. Another way to announce your presence is to rattle the gate. Remember, try not to startle or surprise the dog. And remember, it's only a package, so don't challenge a dog. Deliver the box as close to the front door as possible without putting yourself in harm's way. Watch this driver as he returns to the vehicle without running by keeping his eyes on the dogs and the package between himself and both dogs. So in summary, your safety is more important than any package. So follow these safety tips to ensure a safe delivery to all your customers.
So they say announce your presence by beeping your horn, although I thought they just said don't startle the dog. I guess it's okay to startle the dog if you're in your truck and your doors are closed. Dogs are no joke. 9 dog bites in 10 months since I've been here. I'm a dog person. I probably have taken too many risks on the short times that I've been out on routes. We don't mess with dogs. There are codes we can use if there's a loose, aggressive dog so that we're not getting bit. We do notify the proper authorities. Please take a picture of this screen. This is how to deal with dog bites. I love this one. If your dog attacks, assume the position of a rock, curl into a ball, and protect your face and body. I guess you're protecting your vital organs and letting them gnaw on your legs and arms. If bitten, immediately wash thoroughly with soap and running water for 10 minutes. Go to the hospital. isolate the dog or remember what the dog looks like. So what they're talking about is we need to call animal control or the sheriff's department, police, 911, whatever it is. If you have had the skin broken, also call your manager. If you've had broken skin, you need to seek medical attention, and the proper authorities need to know where the dog belongs. So that's why we're trying to figure out what the dog looks like if it wasn't the house that you were delivering to. 9 times out of 10, it's the house you're delivering to. They're protecting their territory. It's the occasional stray that we run into where it's tough to know where the dog came from. Okay. We cannot carry dog spray. We cannot carry treats. We don't know what dogs are allergic to. We want to avoid them. We don't want to interact with them. Adam has stayed in his truck in someone's driveway, bagged the package, dropped it at the end of the driveway, and took a picture of it in the driveway with a dog standing over top of it. There's a code for dogs. So, we don't want to get our drivers bit, long and short. Take a picture of this one. According to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, of the 37,133 people killed in motor vehicle crashes in 2017, 47% were not wearing seatbelts. 47%. In 2017 alone, seatbelts saved an estimated 14,955 lives and could have saved an additional 2,549 people if they'd been wearing their seatbelts. Remember, you guys are driving yourselves and others, for yourselves and others. Make sure any passenger is wearing seatbelts. Make sure you've got a appropriate space cushion around your vehicle. You have a heavier, larger, more deadly vehicle, and that can cause significant damage in an accident and fatalities. It's not something to mess with. Make sure you're protecting yourselves and keeping that space cushion around you. Seatbelts, take a picture. Airbags are not enough to protect you. In fact, the force of an airbag can seriously injure or even kill you if you're not buckled up. Improperly wearing a seatbelt, such as putting the strap below your arm or your kid's arms in a crash, it's very dangerous. The benefits of buckling up are clear. If you buckle up in the front seat of a passenger car, you can reduce the risk of fatal injury by 45%, moderate to critical injury by 50%. If you buckle up in a light truck, you can reduce the risk of fatal injury by 60%, moderate to critical injury by 65%. Take a picture. So professional mindset, protect yourselves and your passengers. Almost 57% of young adults 18 to 34 killed in crashes were completely unrestrained. This is the mindset of some of the drivers you're surrounded by as you deliver your packages and make your pickups on a daily basis. Keep aware of the vehicles around you and prevent a fatal accident from occurring by always leaving a space cushion around you. You guys are on the road 8 hours a day. There are so many opportunities for interaction with other people that are complete morons. You don't know half of them. The problem is you have to be vigilant 100% of the time because you're held to a higher standard and they can be stupid and get away with it. So remember that as you're out there delivering every day. This is my favorite video.
DOT regulations. Railroad grade crossings, stopping required. In summary, stop within 50 feet, not closer than 15 feet. Do not shift gears while crossing, and stopping is required at all railroad crossings. Railroad grade crossings, slowing down required. Summary, slow down and ensure tracks are clear, and ensure the CMV can completely cross the tracks before driving over. Highway rail crossings, safe clearance, DOT regulations. Make sure your CMV has sufficient room so it does not get stuck on the tracks or stopped by traffic. Civil penalties. Violating FMCSA rules can result in $2,750 fine to drivers, $11,000 fine to employers, and drivers must be able to completely clear the tracks before crossing, and employers must not require drivers to cross unless they can clear the tracks completely. Disqualifications. CDL holders violating state laws concerning failure to have space to clear the tracks completely without stopping will be subject to 60 days for the first offense, 120 days for the second offense in a 3-year period, and 1 year for a third offense in a 3-year period. Let's take a look at the 7 items that make up a railroad crossing. This railroad sign is always telling you to stop, look, and listen. Trains always have the right of way. This sign reminds you to ensure you have room to cross. Once you enter, don't stop. Item 3 reminds you to stop 15 feet away from flashing red lights, lowered gates, or stops. Item 4 reminds you don't drive around lowering gates or ignore flashing signals. Number 5, wait for gates to fully rise or lights to stop flashing before beginning to cross. Number 6, make sure you look both ways before crossing the tracks. If there is a vehicle stuck on the tracks, look for the blue and white sign. Call this number to stop any train traffic on those tracks. Let's review types of railroad signs. The most important sign is the blue and white sign. This is the emergency notification system sign. You simply dial the 1-800 number and give them the specific railroad crossing ID to stop all train traffic on those tracks. This is the most common advance warning sign for railroad crossings. It reminds drivers to slow down, look, and listen for a train. This sign means that trains will not blow their horn for this railroad crossing. This is warning drivers of low ground clearance as they cross over the tracks. This sign warns that a highway rail intersection will appear immediately after making either a right or a left-hand turn. This reminds the driver to be prepared to stop if a train is approaching. This sign is also very common and should be considered the same as a yield sign. This sign indicates the number of tracks present. After one train is passed, look and listen for another train coming from either direction. Let's review the 3 different types of devices found at railroad crossings. Flashing red lights with or without bells. The next type of device is flashing red lights and gates. Remember, it's illegal to go around the gates. And the last type of device is a flashing unit designed to cover all the traffic lanes, so the crossing warning is visible to all drivers on multi-lane roads. Railroad crossing action item. If your vehicle gets stuck on the tracks, exit the vehicle, then run towards the train off the tracks at a 45-degree angle. This helps keep debris from flying at you while you are running away from the train.
Words to live by. 2 things I loved about that. One is it never dawned on me that you would run towards a train. I always figured, as human nature is you run away from the object that you're afraid of. I didn't think about the Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner moment that your car is flying through the air about to land on you. So you run back towards the train, but at a 45-degree angle away from the tracks. That makes sense. The other thing was the blue sign. Take a picture of that. This picture's on the test. The blue sign is at every railroad crossing. Until I took this course, I had never recalled seeing it in my entire life of driving. So that kind of shows you the difference between a professional driver and a non-professional driver. Professional drivers have been taught this stuff. But now that I go through railroad crossings, I cannot go through them without seeing the blue sign. So they are absolutely there with their individual crossing number on all of them. So they do exist. Railroad deadly statistic. Take a picture. Nearly 50% of all railroad crossing fatalities happen at properly functioning automatic warning devices. This means that drivers are still trying to beat the train. That kind of summarizes in a nutshell everything we've talked about today. They're out there. They're all over the place. And you have to navigate that minefield every day. And the way that you do it successfully is use your visibility to create space. That is the end of the slide presentation. Here's where we go from here. You both have your test now, and you will take your test over the next hour. If you pass it, it'll say download your certificate. If you do not pass it, it'll say you have to take the test again. It does not give you a score. If you would like to know your score once you pass it, just send me a text and I will look up your score and text it back to you. You will be getting additional instructions from me with some usernames and passwords for different systems that we use. I will be giving you your FedEx IDs. You may already have gotten them via email from FedEx Ground, but I like to send them. I'll be sending a password with it because that's what we use for My Ground Biz, which is your scanner code. So it's your FedEx ID and a password for your scanners as well. I will be sending you instructions on how to get set up in our payroll system. We are in the process of switching payroll companies. So you may get these instructions twice, and they may be different for both because each company has a different way to do it. I just want to make sure you're set up in both systems so that there's no way that we miss you for one of the payrolls. I think that's it. I think I got everything. Do you have any questions of me? Derek, if you, I can hear you if you speak. Diamond, do you have anything?
After this call, we'll
I
basically
think
be
I'm
waiting
ready.
for instructions.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll have to pass the test, and then once you pass the test, the background stuff needs to be finished up. I know both of you are in process in various stages, but once your employee file is complete, then I can send you in the terminal and you can be what's called badged. They can get you a FedEx ID. Once you're able to be badged, you can start the training in the terminal as well. You guys are each in different stages. Derek was, I think 3 or 4 days before your interview. But once you're in the terminal, then you start on the training pay. I'll pay you for today and along with those days. And that's when you'll be through training over a couple days and onto a route.
Okay, I was wondering that as well because I did get the background check back, so I did see the status of that.
Okay, good.
I didn't know if the drug test, I don't know how, if you got those results yet or
Yeah,
anything like that.
they take a little longer. They're usually about 4 days. I don't know what day you took it. But the drug
Okay.
test is usually about 4 days.
Okay, no problem.
And then we'll go from there. That I like to get this out of the way as quickly as possible, but some of it's frustrating because it's hurry up and slow down, right? But I was hoping I got most of your stuff done, and it sounds like a good portion of it is prior to this class.
Okay, another question. So being that we're doing this now and we still didn't fully get all the results back, what if the results come back and they didn't pass? That means we don't get paid for this training?
No, you'll still get paid for today.
Okay. All right, that was really all I was wondering.
Okay. Derek, anything from you?
No, I'm just thinking everything, I've completed everything but the test, correct?
I haven't heard back on the drug screen. I don't know what day you did it. Renee, the recruiter who sent you the application, is the one who compiles all that stuff. She's a third party vendor that is contracted with us and FedEx. So she's allowed to see that stuff. I'm not allowed to be told whether a drug test was positive or negative or anything like that. So that's why it all runs through her. All they tell
Okay,
me is
like I said, I've
ineligible
done
for hire.
everything. I've got the med card. I just need to register that. I took the drug test and I
So
have
have you
done the
gone to the
application.
DMV?
So the only thing we're waiting on pretty much is the result of the drug test and this test.
Yep. That sounds right. Does the DMV is your med card filed with the DMV?
I have to do that, which I'll get to that before the week's out.
Okay, so I don't know how long Virginia takes to get your record updated, but we can't submit everything for final approval from FedEx on the background until they have a complete file at First Advantage. So that will hold you up if the state doesn't have your MVR updated.
Gotcha.
Yep. Okay, folks, look for some text messages from me, but don't stop what you're doing on the test. Wait till the end of the test and pass the test, and then go back and look at the other text messages about onboarding stuff, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a great day, everybody.
You
Good
too.
luck.
Okay, have a good one.
See you guys.